So we say a very special good evening to everyone who is joining the live at this moment, and we continue our live coverage of the Hurricane Maria story. We are now in the community of Kulibistri, and for many they would know that the community of Kulibistri, that community was badly damaged after the passage of Tropical Storm Erica, and then with Hurricane Maria that community received a further beating when Hurricane Maria struck 5 years ago. Well, tomorrow will officially be the 5th year anniversary. That community received a further beating, as many would say, with the passage of Hurricane Maria. And of course, we have one of the residents here, and I'll allow him to introduce himself, and he will tell us about his Hurricane Maria story, as that's what we're doing today, hearing the stories of the different residents from around the island on what they went through. Good evening to you, sir, to our thank you. Okay, so can you just introduce yourself to our viewers, please?
Well, my name is Cyrus Nafis Baston. I'm born here and I raised here. That's my village. I can remember when I was a child, I had a very good relationship with my mother, and I know most of the areas in the valley, the Gibwa Valley. I went as a child. I carried bananas for in the mountains. I carry dry wood. I go for crabs. And mangoes. After school ended, primary school ended at 2:30 p.m. to go bags and we put mangoes. It was a village where people did a lot. I was a bit troublesome, but you know, when it was a youth, in youthfulness, how it was. I could climb the mountain and collected guavas. I ate a lot of sugar apples, soursop, natural food. That's probably why I'm still feeling strong and healthy. To compare to those that are much more younger than me, they have much more complaint, and I have very little complaint because I ate quite a lot of fruits and vegetables. I still continue to eat fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
But as you know, climate change, things are changing, and I first experienced my worst natural disaster in 1979. Okay. But this is the worst I've ever seen. Maria is the worst I've ever seen.
Maria is the worst.
And the place I'm living with is not so much a big place, but when I realized it will be dangerous for me, I had to leave where I live and go to my neighbor. But I didn't sleep that night. And when the hurricane struck me started around 8 p.m. in the night, we saw rain, and that started to enrage. It started to become very rough, and the sea started to live on that side. Cross the highway, under the cellar, trunks of wood start to toss over under the house. And I can remember there was an experience where the owner of the house, when the window was forced open by force winds, and when the window, the waves start to dash just a few meters away from where we're standing, it's a wooden house. And I helped him to try to pull the door, but he took a fall. When he took a fall, I helped him, he stood up, and then we tied the window. And then rain started to fall, and I said to my public, it seems to me we're going to get a tsunami. Because I said that's why we'll have to get the hell out of the place, because I can see the waves already ponging in under the cellar. And then we saw chunks of wood coming out from, all over. But I didn't sleep that night. When we woke up in the morning, leaving around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we saw a number of people coming out from that side of the village, and you can see tons and tons of pieces of wood and boughs and branches and whatever spread all over the Kulibistri. And we said to ourselves, I don't think Dominica is going to come out from that kind of disaster very soon, because it's probably going to take us years and years to see a recovery.
And let me ask, I'm sorry, Mr. Sebastian, I know they were getting carried away telling your story, but let me ask you, you said that you had to move from where your home.
This guy, you can talk to him, you see him, see those when he's finished.
Okay, no problem.
Serious!
We'll go ahead and get my colleague to call him over. But you said that you had to leave your home, leave the comfort of your home, and you sought rescue at someone else's home.
Yes.
And you all had to battle both the sea, the raging sea, and the river?
Well, as I told, just around here I'm living, but the river is further away.
Okay, so you're not affected at the time by the river.
But what I'm saying is this: one rainy morning time, the both sides of the Kubish was engulfed. The whole village was engulfed, right? And I got a news where the playing field was engulfed by water, and both sides of the village, from the police station way across the Catholic Church. In order for us to pass, we had to pass in the cemetery, go into the cemetery, go on this side and try to find out. There was no way we could have passed because it was just a trap. The place was just in a disaster.
And when you woke up, well, you said you did not sleep. But of course, when day broke and you witnessed with your own eyes the destruction that Maria had inflicted upon your community in Kulibistri, what was your initial thoughts?
Well, my thought was the damage inflicted to Kulibistri. I said, what came into my mind, I said, I don't believe it's going to take years, for us to see Kulibistri come back normally as it was. That's what I said to myself, I mean, it's going to be difficult. For example, Valley des Bois is one of the places in Dominican that produce one of the most cocoa. And I said, the production of cocoa, the trees, I believe, must have been ravaged and carried on by the rivers and slides and mangoes and grafted mangoes, large plantation of grafted mangoes. I think this should have been taken away. And I said it's going to be chaotic, it's going to be misery. There's going to be very few mangoes in Kulibistri left. Very few cocoa trees going to remain because of the destructive efforts of Maria. And I was very worried. I was worried especially for children to come, young ones to come. I was very worried about them.
And can you tell me, 5 years on, tomorrow will officially mark the 50th anniversary of Hurricane Maria. In your opinion, 5 years on, with your community of Kulibistri, do you believe that 5 years on there have been progress made in Kulibistri in terms of making you all somewhat resilient for in the event that another storm such as this, God forbid, it passes by? Do you believe that you all have gotten anywhere?
Well, what kind of progress do we have? What kind of progress? Economic, physical progress?
Both economic, physically.
Well, what I see, this community is a small village. It's one of the smallest communities in Dominica. Okay, so I said to myself, people should come together and plant trees. Plant trees because most of the trees were taken away. Now you cannot see a breadfruit in Kulibistri. Right? And so if people will make up their mind and plant trees, reforest the area and do some, maybe the place will change. But people have different opinions. I know some people are politically minded, some people have religious differences, and maybe of such opinion you might find it difficult. But I've seen a little progress, but people go back to the production, agricultural production in the village, not in the village as well, because Kulibistri used to be a very productive area in terms of cocoa and limes, but because of the roads being not easy for roads, we call it motorable. The roads not motorable in our area in the valley. People bought land in the place called Syndicate from the Shillingford. So most Kulibistri people that used to farm in the interior of the Bois left and they go to Syndicate to farming. So people bought land in the late 70s, 1979 to 1980. They bought land and they cultivated. But the few people that remain there, as I told you before, most importantly, what I can remember, the people used to criticize the valley, saying the Valley of the Bois doesn't produce enough. But it was a wrong statement because, as I can tell you, water is life. And Kulibistri village has one of the best water in the island. And I think government organized with the World Bank, whatever, and then they spent millions of dollars, put pipes, and Maria came and Maria ripped it off. Not sorry, Erica, and they started again, and then it was totally destroyed. But this water system we had from the European Union to bring in water from Kulbish as far as Capuchin in the north was completely destroyed. And that's a serious problem we are facing now. Water is one of the problems in Maria because people cannot get the water, the volume of water, and they can't get the quality of water we wish to enjoy. As I said before, Kulbish has one of the best rivers in the island in terms of quality. Because that river, as in other places, probably people are doing farming and runoff from the river is affecting, runoff from the farms is affecting the river. People using fertilizer, people using all sorts of toxicated things. But that Kulbish River, people no longer make garden, farming in the heights. So that river is very much protected.
So this is something that you are hoping that
yes,
it can certainly be addressed for you all.
I understood that they are going to go back to see if they can reorganize the water system again.
Okay, no problem. So we do have someone here who wants to share his Hurricane Maria story with us. So we're going to grant him the opportunity to do so. So he'll introduce himself. So we're just here in the community of Kulibishtri and we're continuing our live coverage of the Hurricane Maria story. Tomorrow will officially mark the 50th anniversary since the passage of Hurricane Maria, and we're just hearing from residents from across the island. Of course, we started early on today in Roseau. We went to Point Michel where we spoke to a number of individuals, and now we're in Kulibishtri. Good evening, sir. I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to our Dominican News Online viewers.
Okay, I'm environmental engineer, Cecilia Simon Charles, and I live in Lagoon Bay.
Okay. Mr. Charles, it's been, well, tomorrow will be the 50th anniversary of Hurricane Maria. Can you just take us back? Of course, this is the opportunity to share your story on what you went through that night and your personal story. I'm sorry. Can you just tell me your experience with Hurricane Maria, please, before we move on?
Well, before the passage of Hurricane Maria, the weather forecast didn't predict it to be, as devastating as it was. So I didn't take any initiatives to go to a hurricane shelter. So when the hurricane passed, I was at home and the roof started coming off due to the winds. So I grabbed some of my important documents and I ran to my neighbor's house where I basically passed the hurricane. Now the impacts of the hurricane was a lot. We didn't have water, but Samaritan Purse arrived. Samaritan Purse, that's a charity organization for the They set up a water treatment system, give us water. So we had to carry water from the center of the village. And well, what else? What I can remember, it's been like 3 years, right?
Yeah, it's been, well, tomorrow will be 5 years. But let me ask you, when you said you could not stay at your home, you had to seek rescue, you sought rescue at your neighbor's place. When they broke and you actually got to witness with your own eyes the devastation which Maria had inflicted on the nation, what were your initial thoughts? What did you initially think?
In terms of the impact?
Yes, what did you think? Did you think that...
Well, I thought it was going to be a huge challenge for us because one of the first things I looked at was the mountains, and I saw that most of our flora and fauna was destroyed. So, and then a lot of the roofs in the area got removed from the hurricane. So I thought that it brought a cost.
Yeah, and
huge cost for the community.
the community. 5 years on, tomorrow 5th year anniversary. What are your overall opinions on how we've dealt with it, or we've rebuilt as a nation? What, as an environmental engineer yourself, your overall opinion on how we've combated to everything that we've been through over the past 5 years?
Well, from what I've seen, I would say it could be way better, but it's good because I think the organization, the International Organization for Migration, abbreviated IMO, came and restored a lot of the roofs in the area. They gave my mother a roof. They put in the roof on this house over there, a lot of the roofs. They put back the roofs. And what else? They did the dredging of the river, which caused a lot of environmental impact in terms of sediment pollution. But I've seen that it went. I saw that it did a lot in terms of mitigating flooding.
Okay. And
also, yeah.
Okay, I'd love to find out, Mr. Sebastian, if you can join him as well, because this is a question I'd like to pose to the both of you. We've heard that the government stating that the community it's uninhabitable, and of course the plans are being made to have residents relocated to the community of Makushri. 5 years later, you are still here. If these plans they come into fruition, will you all leave your community of Kulibishri and relocate?
Well, as you know, he studied at the degree in Mexico.
Engineer's
degree, right? But I myself, I consider myself as an environmentalist. I'm very prone to nature. I love nature. I put nature number one in my life. But as far as I heard, some of the villagers are reluctant to leave Kulibishri because he said there's a guy by the name of Sam Holland. His intention quite a while before Maria, his intention was to come and he was offering people money so that they would have left the village before Maria, I think, to turn it into a quarry. So that is why some of the villagers, some of them are reluctant to live in Kulibishri because the government wanted them to leave so that they would somehow acquire the place and turn them into a quarry, because this is the place they grew and they live for the lifetime and they do not want to live there.
Yeah, but would you leave?
Okay, but I am not in favor of a quarry being here because, as I said, I'm very much 100% environmentalist. Environmental. I love nature. But what I'm saying is this: my father was a head teacher from Corlew. My father is from Corlew. My mother is here. And he left a portion of land for me in Corlew, the parish of St. Peter. They call it Ansalian. So probably I have an area where probably I can go. But I heard the same news about government acquired land by Makushri, and I heard that quite a number of villagers said they do not want to go there, it's too far. So then after that I hear, people are believing in rumors, people believe in hearsay, Kulibishri, UD. Some people say that is not true, so I don't know what to believe. Then recently I heard that now government going to acquire land from the shilling funds to relocate some people here. So I don't know the 100% truth of what's happened.
Okay, no problem. So for you, you're conflicted with everything. And what about you, Mr. Charles? If the opportunity presents itself as an you will leave the area. And as an environmentalist, yourself, right. This is something you would encourage your fellow residents in Kulibishri to take on, to leave.
Yes.
Okay. And guys, I'd love to just find out. We hear the news that a tropical storm last evening was approaching, and Dominica was under a tropical storm watch. As residents in an area that is so prone to disaster, does it bring back nightmares, or is it traumatic for you all when you all hear such news?
Yes, definitely, it's traumatic for me.
Traumatic for you.
Yeah.
And Mr. Charles, final is this yourself?
I'm very much concerned. Well, I don't live in the valley there. I live here for now.
Okay.
But I very much, when you see such things happening, I saw like bad weather, I very much concerned for my sister, because I have two sisters living in an area they call Placerville. So it's there I'm very much concerned about.
Okay.
Because maybe around here I can more easily escape. Probably I can go to Meru, where my brother has a house in Meru, I can go there and shelter. Or, you know, but my sisters living there with my nieces and so on. And then I also have a niece living in just above the cemetery as well. I'm very much concerned about it. I'm telling you, don't get nightmare, because I said most probably if that happened in the middle of the night, they might as well trap.
Okay.
But I can more easily escape from myself.
Okay. So, gentlemen, of course, we just thank you for sharing your Hurricane Maria story. We know tomorrow will officially mark the 5th year anniversary. Just speaking to the residents here in Kulabishri, and they're just sharing their story and what they went through that evening. And it's still etched in their minds that evening, and both of them saying that they had to sought rescue elsewhere. They could not stay in their initial location. So, gentlemen, thank you so very much for taking the time out. You're welcome. We're going to continue on our coverage to just see if we can get a few more residents or a few more individuals who can speak to us on. Okay, no problem. Can just speak to us on share the Hurricane Maria story. At this point in time, 5 years ago, Dominicans, they were just bracing themselves for, we know, a storm that changed all of our lives altogether. So thank you for staying connected. This live brought to you by Dominica News Online. We're just going to continue to make our way and see if we can get a few more people to share their story and what they went through 5 years ago.